Just
YouTube's coming up now.
YouTube's coming up. Welcome.
Right.
YouTube.
Yeah, I got to flip all the switches.
We're ready for takeoff.
I think so. It sounds like things are happening over there. Yeah.
God, I'm losing track. 15?
16.
16. Wow. 16th live chat. 034 Motorsport Quarantine Edition live chat. Welcome, everybody.
There we go.
It's Monday the...
I don't know, 10th?
10th?
10th.
No, it is the 10th.
Pretty sure it's the 10th, Nick.
According to a computer. So
It's
yeah,
the new
I don't even know how it's August 10th. But hope you guys are all doing well and hanging in there out there. So yeah, we have something exciting to announce along with ECS that 034 Motorsport is the title sponsor helping ECS transform a B8 S4 or is it a B8.5 S4 to be given away.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some great ways that you can enter the raffle to get a free 034 Motorsport transformed and optimized B8 S4. Pretty cool. We're really happy to be a part of this. The car will feature a slew of our products, including our world record setting ECU and TCU calibrations, our dual pulley setup. It will feature our upcoming high flow throttle body, which I'm pretty sure we're going to call the super duper charger. Super duper charger.
It's yet to be
but there'll be some umlauts, but I want to throw that out there. The super duper charger is our throttle body upgrade. And what else? It'll have our heat exchanger, front mount heat exchanger, all the 034 Motorsport Dynamic Plus products, sway bars, springs, all of our insert package. There may be a few other things that I'm missing, but it's about as 034 as you can get, and there will be some other companies involved as well.
Mm-hmm.
But B8's our specialty. We have arguably, I think safe to say, the biggest, broadest, most badass B8 S4 product line on the planet.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anyone even else comes close.
Tuning to suspension to inserts. To
APR is obviously big, but they just have a handful of products. So I mean, we touch every part from we will be releasing wheels soon. Everything suspension, pretty much everything motor. Oh, it will have our upcoming X34 intake. As well. So anyways, we're excited about B8. We're excited to be a part of this with we're excited to be a part of this with ECS. So I would suggest you enter to win. I think it involves placing an order with ECS, and you get entered for a certain amount.
I think there's some other ways to enter.
There's probably some other ways, but you can't just buy raffle tickets. I don't believe, because I don't think that's legal. So
I'm not sure how.
There's some laws around giving things away like this. So anyways, check out our Instagram or Facebook for more information. Check out ECS's Instagram definitely check out theirs for information as well. And good luck winning a 034 transformed and optimized S4.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So let's jump into some of the questions. As always, if you guys watch this, you probably heard me say this 1,000 times. Ask questions. That's what this is about. This is a Q&A. Controversial is no issue. Challenge us. Whatever it is that you'd like to know, ask away, and we'll be happy to address it. So, well, let's start with the first one. Everyone's talking about this. APR is discontinuing stage 2, ECU tunes, as well as high flow cats.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any thoughts? Any pressure from the EPA, etc.? So there's two things going on. The EPA has escalated focus and attention specifically on the automotive aftermarket. Specifically since 2017, EPA created a campaign to force compliance to the automotive aftermarket industry, specifically tuners. there's some pretty big, well-known, high-profile compliance efforts that have taken place with some pretty big companies. It's not a lot of secrets on who's gotten approached by the EPA. Typically, the EPA would come in to, again, create compliance, not necessarily trying to put anyone out of business, but there are obviously some financial penalties.
Yep.
But the main thing is to force compliance. And so typically these companies very quickly change their website, change their product line, change their policies on what products they sell, what products they ship. We here at 034 have followed along, and we are always doing our best to be compliant. And so, a lot of what you see on our website, the fact that we only sell the Stage 2 and other products for racing and off-road use, we are very careful where we ship products to.
Yep.
We've discontinued a line of test pipes that we used to sell, O2 spacers.
Yeah, we did that years ago.
Yeah, and this was going back like 4 years ago. We did this. There's always a chance that the EPA would approach you. CARB is also an issue. We've been doing business in California for over 15 years. So there's that aspect. Clearly, APR is private equity owned, and these private equity companies, they don't like liability. They don't like the thought that something could come and cause them to lose a bunch of money that they didn't expect. So when they can see liability down the road, down the future, they will typically take action to remove or greatly lessen the degree of these potential liability instances from happening. Now, a lot of times when private equity is looking to sell, they will look to sell a company, and again, they want to de-risk the company to make it more valuable. So it's kind of like if you were going to sell your house, you would fix a lot of those issues, that leak on the roof, you'd fix it, right? You've been living with that for 5 years.
It's a really good analogy.
You were fine with it. But, if someone else is going to come in and buy it, they're not going to want to deal with that leak, right? So if you want to get top dollar for your house, you're going to fix all those little things and let any potential buyers know there's no risk, there's no liability, this house is ready to move in. So if you want to read between the lines of what I just said, that's a lot of what's driving what we're seeing in the marketplace. The fact of the matter is most companies in this industry make money on Stage 1 tuning.
Yeah.
Everyone, who comes into the Volkswagen Audi aftermarket starts with Stage 1. A lot less people go Stage 2. And so I think it's easier for companies to say, Stage 2 isn't that important. 90% of the money's in Stage 1 anyways, so let's get rid of the liability. Now, with all that said, SEMA is actively working and lobbying on part of the aftermarket automotive industry. One concerning thing that the EPA has said recently is that they are also looking to create compliance on off-road and racing vehicles as well.
Yeah, which would basically kill any and all racing series, because
every kind of racing.
There's no amount of factory support you're going to get bodies in white that aren't VIN stamped and ready for a racetrack. Then
there's a couple series I think that maybe run stock cats. They're basically stock cars, but just about every race car out there either has a cat removed or has some type of racing catalytic converter. Typically, cats don't do too well in racing. There's a lot of heat, and in order to protect the cat, the power is reduced from the engine. So SEMA is actively lobbying. So, I think this whole thing between the EPA and going after off-road and racing, I feel confident that SEMA will be able to act on our part. This isn't the first time this has happened.
No.
There was a big thing about 5 years ago where the EPA wanted to go after racing, and SEMA, as a representative lobbyist to the automotive aftermarket industry, was able to push that boundary back with the EPA. So there's a lot going on. I think the biggest issue is there's a lot of rumors and speculation online, and I think everyone these days loves a good conspiracy theory. And
I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, right. 5G cell towers don't cause coronavirus, but I don't know. There's probably a lot of you out there that think it does based on what I read on Facebook. So, anyways, there are facts, there's realities. I think it's always important to be connected with the truth. That's what we always strive to do here. Not a juicy conspiracy theory that really makes sense because someone's asking all the right questions.
Right.
Those questions are interesting, certainly fun to talk about, but the things going on with APR and Stage 2 are very specifically for a reason.
Yep.
And it's not necessarily what everyone's saying. So, keep in mind, heck, I mean, every time I ever sell a car, it's in better shape than when I've owned it, which is just kind of a cruel irony of life. But
let's guess that might be a similar situation.
Yeah, so that's about all I think I could say, or we could say on that topic. And that's probably more than anyone else will tell you. So you're welcome. All right, so but yeah, I'll just finish with 034 is we are actively working with CARB to get CARB approvals for our tuning and intakes, and that's going very well. And we have plans to continue the trajectory of products that we currently offer. We're not planning on changing that anytime soon, but we are, as always, being careful and working diligently to meet the legal requirements that are set out there. So, all of our high flow cats are for racing and off-road use only. However, they're Euro 4 catalysts, so they're actually very clean running catalysts. They also flow a lot more than the stock cat, and in our testing, they flow almost as good as a test pipe.
Yeah.
Basically as good.
Depends on the application, but some we've tested that have been equivalent.
Yeah,
flow-wise.
And it can vary from application.
Yep.
But our recent DAZA downpipe does flow as well as a Miltech downpipe that test pipe that
we saw no difference on the Stage 2 test pipe versus our high flow version.
Right. So even if you are running one of our high flow cats during racing and off-road use, it's still a clean running product, and rest assured you're not dumping a lot of raw hydrocarbons out into the environment. So anyways, we'll end on that. Okay. Next.
Well, that and everybody wants loud. Sure. Everybody wants loud crackles today. Following up on that.
Yes. Nick's fingers are getting tired, guys. So he's transferring these questions to our internal communication system. When will your CA intake for the B8 be available?
Cold air.
Yeah. The B8 X34 will be available soon. I believe we have the silicone hoses in. And I think
those showed up.
Yeah, we have a big shipment of those, and I think we're just waiting on the carbon fiber shrouds. So we want to release it yesterday. Don't get us wrong. We're not
sitting on it.
We are more motivated than anyone to release it. So I would say for sure in the next month. So it could be sooner than that, but I don't have an exact date for you. But we're imminent. So as always, check out some TikTok episodes, and the time just goes by really quickly. So I like the one where the girls are handing the brush to each other from frame to frame, and then they and then their outfits change. So those will keep your attention for a long time. Lots of feedback about crackles, louder pops and bangs.
When will it be bumped up? How much sooner? How fast? How loud?
And then just as many people saying it's too loud and it hurts their ears,
yes.
and they need
Can you reduce it? It's too scary.
Yeah. We do not offer any crackle safe spaces, but I don't know.
It's all coming up. I've got a bunch of work I'm doing. It's still on V8s. It's
just tell Nick what you guys want, and we'll.
Yeah. Right. It's both. Yeah. I'm working on the launch control stuff. There's a couple of other changes I'm doing. You'll probably see it'll be the basic revision 7 coming up on the server for the calibrations. That'll have some of the different crackle overrun stuff rolled in.
I don't know. Just tell Nick, and then Nick will communicate to us. And we want to do what you guys want. So.
Yep. We haven't forgot. It's not. We're not ignoring it. We're working on it.
CREC.
Yep. That's another one we're working on getting flashed from the server.
That's the CMOS.
That's the CMOS 16.
16.
Yep.
Yeah, no, we're working on it, guys. We have not forgotten.
Nope. No, that one's tough to prioritize. That's, you know, it says don't forget about European guys. Yeah, our majority of our market's U.S., especially for the flashing stuff, and that's a 2-year only model for us on
I mean,
A6, A7, so it's
true.
much smaller.
To be honest, we are a U.S. based company, and we have access to U.S. based cars, and by far we sell more product to the U.S. market than any other country. You know, our international business is dwarfed by our domestic business. With that said, you know, we have every desire to please the Europeans as well.
Of course.
But it generally has to cross
and the
over.
late A6, A7 guys.
It has to cross over and have a domestic application as well. So I think in this case it does.
It does.
There's A6, A7 cars here.
It's just, it's such a small percentage, unfortunately, here.
B8S4 intercooler cores seem to be a large restitution. Oh, man.
Wow.
What does that mean? Does that mean it compensates the air somehow if there's some legal judgment against it? I'm assuming that meant to say restriction. Any thoughts on making it? Dude, seriously?
No, he's talking about the in manifold intercoolers.
Oh, the Laminova intercoolers. Right. I don't know. I mean, we would love to have a better one, yes. Doing that is not going to be super easy.
Yeah, I mean,
thing to do.
I started drawing up some Laminova core insert stuff years and years ago. It's just the space constraints.
The
are
best
so
way
tough.
would be to just redo the whole planet.
The manifold really needs more.
You're now talking about a whole new supercharger housing as well.
You've either got to cut and weld on manifold.
So you're talking, you know, I don't know. I guess it depends on what, you know. Would you guys be willing to pay $2,000 or $3,000 for something like that? It is as good as the B8S4 3.0T is. That is its Achilles heel on the tuning side. That everything is a workaround to that. But I mean, find me a B8S4 or a B5S4 or a B6S4 or a B7S4 that can hold a candle to just a regular stage 2 B8S4. So I know you guys want more, but we're already getting a lot out of these things. So to do more would require lots more money.
A lot,
yeah.
There's no easy fixes for that one.
But I don't know. I mean, if you guys would be willing to pay $3-4 grand for a whole new supercharger housing with bigger intercoolers, let us know. Oh, more crackles?
Can crackles be adjustable in the car for both duration and aggressiveness? Not likely. They will likely be able to be switched on and off based on performance mode, whether it's dynamic or comfort, but I don't think I'm going to go through the whole effort of putting that on a knob.
I mean, maybe we just need to make a crackle box, it's almost like a boom box that people can carry around, and they just set it down and be like, "Hey, bro, check this out." And it's just all, it's just like you can just take it around to parties, take it to the beach. I mean,
I guess
it seems like people like the crackles better than driving.
You could hop in the next little pickup, and the thing would just have crackle overruns for days. So
yeah, you could put it in your friend's Prius, impress all the girls. I don't know. We thought that the crackle stuff was just a minor side thing, but apparently people like it more than the car itself.
Feature number one: the car can do 7 miles an hour down the street.
It's
as long as it's
literally there's just gonna be people there's just gonna be a car with no wheels just sitting on the ground on its frame, just with crackle
perpetually exploding. I think a lot of these cars have the structural sound-borne actuators. We'll just make that explode all day.
Why did Nick get demoted to 034? Demoted from 034 TV. What do you mean? How'd you get demoted?
He's not up here.
Oh, that was
we had too many complaints.
That was a short-term thing. Unfortunately, Nick just made me look too old. So Nate's a little better balanced.
Thanks, buddy.
So, yeah. That's true. But I've never been tall. I was young at one point. Will launch control be brought to the ZF8? We talk about this every week.
Yeah, we'll be doing more with the ZF8, including launch. The advanced launch control with the adjustable set points, I don't know. That is a totally different method of basically launch control mode for the automatic transmission. So the DSG and the manuals can get away with it because they completely release the clutches, and you're able to set the engine RPM where you want. ZF8's a little bit different in the way it operates. So,
yeah, one feature I was thinking, since there's a lot of guys missing manual transmissions, is like a clutch slip mode on the ZF8. So when the boost comes up, it feels like the transmission's slipping, just so for that nostalgia of like what it used to be like to drive a manual transmission. I know a lot of people are missing that.
Smell burnt ATF.
Yeah, and then it can kick out there can be a little scent plug that you put into a little in the cigarette lighter.
Yep. And
there's like a Bluetooth connection that we could be onto something.
We'll just integrate it with the Crackle box.
Yes, just needs to be a whole.
It'll be the Crackle and Fart box.
Right. Product roadmap for the Gen 1 R8 V8. Ooh, great question. So we are very busy producing products that we've already engineered. So we will be releasing Dynamic Plus springs, front and rear sway bars, front and rear end links. We have 2 exhaust options. So one's with an X pipe and one without. One has that more exotic supercar sound.
Yeah, it was.
The other has a more V8 rumble.
It was really surprising how different those sounded.
They sound very different. And at Summerfest last year, we did with a couple hundred people there. And we had both cars next to each other, and we did revving of one and the other, and it was like 50-50 in the crowd.
Yeah, there was not, unfortunately, a clear consensus.
Yeah, we thought like everybody would gravitate one way. So, with the X pipe, the exhaust has like kind of a big block V8 rumbly sound. It's a very deep, rumbly sound. And without the X pipe, you hear both banks firing separately. So those sounds don't get combined, and it has, it kind of has that like Lexus LFA,
Yeah, it's much sharper, higher pitch,
sharper whine, the raspy. it sounds amazing. They both sound really good.
It sounds like 2 totally different cars, though. If you were blindfolded, you think one was like
right.
No,
yeah, you would not think that they were the same car. It's crazy. And then they're both valved. So there's a regular mode and a sport mode. The sport mode is very loud. And the regular mode I like. I've been driving our car for months now, and I just keep it in the regular mode. It sounds amazing. And it's exactly what I would want.
Yeah, to go along with that, we have remapped ECU software. So regular mode and drive mode keeps the valves closed all the way up through. In sport mode, they're open all the way through. Yeah. So you don't get that 4,000 RPM house scaring.
Yeah, so now regular modes, the valve stays closed all the way up, and it just has a really nice, it's frankly how the car should have come from the factory.
Yep.
And then if you really want to, blow someone's shirt off, you go into sport mode. And one morning, I drive through the country to get to a 034 every morning. And there's some big pastures, and there was about 300 cows, and they're all sitting right next to the road. And they were doing their morning, chewing their cud and just kind of getting the day going. And I saw them about a quarter mile up, and so I wanted to do a little test to see if the cows would notice the sport mode. And so just as I came up on them, I dropped gears, so the motor was at about 6,000 RPM, and I hit sport mode and just went wide open throttle. And about 300 cows literally tried to kill themselves running up the hill away from the road. And when cows get really scared and their eyes are huge and they're just like fumbling over each other, and they're like tripping over their own calves to get away from the R8 sport mode. So that was a successful test, in my opinion. It accomplished exactly what we were going for from an engineering standpoint.
Yeah.
PETA wasn't happy about it, but all those cows have been eaten since.
Cattle herding was one of our features. We needed to get that confirmed.
Yeah, if you want to clear some cattle, I'm telling you, sport mode, wide open throttle, and those cows will run for the hills, literally. So, anyways, and then did I miss anything? That's the initial.
I think we.
That's the initial. We have some other stuff we're working on.
But, tuning.
Obviously, ECU calibration. We're looking at intakes.
Yeah.
There's some on the market. The intake is tough because there's not a lot to gain from a power standpoint.
Right.
But what we'd like to do is sell a Dynamic Plus package with all the R8 suspension products in one
right.
kit.
The biggest thing we found was on Crack. It had a lot of room for improvement in the handling department.
The car pushes pretty bad stock, for what it is.
Yep.
And like we've talked about before, OEMs they build push into cars because that's what's safer.
Yep.
You would rather slide in the direction you're going and see where you're going than go backwards. So we the suspension really is designed to work homogeneously as a kit together. The sway bars and the springs are all sized and tuned to work with each other. But once you do that right, it really transforms the handling of the car.
Yes.
And on track, we're seeing substantial improvements in lap times and
just behavior
and how the car handles and behaves. Much more neutral in corners.
Yeah, we're not talking about this wild thing you have to control.
No.
It's a car you can really steer with the throttle around.
Easier and faster to drive, and the car does what you want it to. So the key is when you turn the steering wheel, you want the car to respond. You don't want it to push. You don't want it to necessarily oversteer either. You want the car to
do what you're inputting.
You want the front end to dig in, and you want to have grip. So the other product is wheels. So we have a whole ZTF wheel program for the R8, which is substantially wider front wheels, which allows you to put more front tire in the car, and the car really needs it. So that's one of the issues with the pushing is there's not enough front end grip. So we're able to optimize the spring and sway bar stiffnesses combined with the increased grip of the wider front tires. The whole package works beautifully. So and that will be that will work on any of our R8 products will work on the R8 V8 or V10. Then there'll be specific exhaust for the two.
Yep.
But the cars are very similar. There's just a little bit more weight.
Yeah, it's like V-band flange so for the exhaust anyway. Yeah, some mechanical differences. What?
No, the ECS giveaway is they're giving away a whole
car.
Pardon my French, a whole fucking car. The whole thing. You get the wheels too, but you get the engine, the chassis,
all of it.
The wiring harnesses, the fluids that are in it. You get a car you can drive. So I think, I imagine whoever wins has to fly out to Wadsworth, Ohio,
right,
and take delivery of the car. I don't know how that works.
I have no idea how that works, but it's a ways out. We're talking what? Fall?
So we just announced today, and we're building the car currently. So we're actually gearing up to ship the products to ECS. Hopefully in the next week or two, they'll have everything.
Yep.
And then they're going to build the car. They're going to film media with it. But it is a car giveaway. So I think you enter by placing orders at ECS, and for every X amount of dollars, how much? So for every $25 you spend at ECS, you get a raffle entry. So if you spent $100, you'd get 4 entries.
Yep.
So I mean, right now, if you're going to buy some car stuff, I mean, obviously this is why
you might get a car with it,
right? Like, why would you buy from anyone else if you could get signed up to win a free car? So, anyways, we're thrilled to be a part of it, but it is the whole car. Yep. Yeah. So, I think just go on Instagram on ours or their Instagram, and the links to the information.
Yeah, it's right. They've got a little banner right at the top of the page now.
All right, someone's asking about the engine cover, so let's talk about this. Nick, would you like to be promoted to the hand model?
Well, let me get you your screen.
So this is this product does not give you any horsepower, and it just looks good. And frankly, there's something to be said about looking good. It's not always about the performance. So we offer a number of gorgeous carbon fiber products for the Daza engine, including a full carbon fiber intake with a front end air duct and other various covers. So that this is a carbon fiber cover that goes over the engine cover, which will hopefully no longer be falling off all the time thanks to our density mounts for the valve cover. But this simply snaps over the existing factory cover. There's a nice little window here for the RS badge, which we would not want to cover because RS shit's badass, and that's something that I would personally want to show off.
Yep.
And we also left the red features
Yep.
in the cover as well. So this you know, we had a number of revisions and some intense in-house debates on exactly what to reveal and what to do. And then for me, my whole thing is I want these to essentially, they don't snap on, but I want them to fit tightly over the factory piece so that they're not just relying on the double-sided tape, which is what these red strips are. And so for SEMA last year, I drove the TTRS to Las Vegas. It's a
Gently.
8-hour drive. I did not drive gently, but I did go into Mexico and I went very fast there. But we installed this on the engine cover with no tape, and it lasted the trip there and back, and actually lasted the whole SEMA show as well, with people touching it and stuff like that. So that was without any tape. With tape, it definitely is not going to go anywhere. And the weave pattern matches the rest of our products. So with this, you don't have to go try to source the expensive European or factory cover. And this, I think, looks better than that and beautifies the engine bay further.
Yep.
Again, no performance benefit, but it helps to look good too, right? So, I mean,
and it pairs really nice with the intake and some of the other parts. So it's,
yeah,
you know, a more uniform look across the engine bay.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Daniel Day-Lewis is a great actor. It also doesn't hurt that he's really handsome. You know, if he was all ratchet, wouldn't matter how good how good of an actor he was. So this is like, you know, the Daniel Day-Lewis face of your engine bay, which also goes really fast and is a badass horsepower handling machine as well. All right. So when are we releasing this week?
This week.
I think so. Yeah.
Waiting.
As soon as we can. Well, I don't know. Yeah, we may want to release it and just get it going. I think we have like 5 here, right? Is that what I heard?
For the initial
So we could ship
samples,
5, but I don't know. Anyways, very soon, this week or next week, we're just we just did photography. The web page is getting built, so all that stuff. All right. Why is it so hard to set up a date to get my VWCC tuned in-house on your dyno?
Because we don't do custom tuning anymore.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
I'm not sure what the
who
question
you've been
is on
talking
this,
to, because
there's, I think.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just be very clear. We don't do in-house dyno tuning. Our dyno, for about 4 years now, has been reserved for our in-house engineering efforts. The dyno is constantly being used by our hardware and software engineering teams to develop and validate the products that we sell, so that we create and sell. So I don't know who has given you the idea that that's something we would do. I apologize if that's the case. With that said, I would suggest you speak to our service departments to see if there's any tuning solutions they can offer you. You may not require custom tuning.
Right.
You know, our off-the-shelf files are good, and if we have one, that's all you're going to really need. So, but I would suggest discussing with service, but qualifying that we don't do in-house dyno tuning on our dyno anymore. We haven't for a long time. I frankly, I don't think APR or Unitronic or IE would either. So, you know, we just can't charge enough money to do that, unfortunately. There are some smaller shops that do like cob tuning and things like that. I can't say too much about how good that option is. So, next question. I noticed the new Stage 1 ECU tunes are up. R6.0.38. The Stage 1 Crackle file is gone though. Did that move under test pipe revision of Stage 1? I still have the cats.
Yeah, we're moving most of the Crackle stuff to the test pipe files. Just the stock cats mute it so much anyway. It's kind of a one comes with the other.
They do.
There's not a lot of sense in running it with the stock cats. So that's where they're going to be for the time being.
Can't even run a test pipe file.
You can run it. Yeah, you can run the test pipe file. There's no detriment. There's no additional. You know, it's the same file.
We need
in every other.
We need some better like guide. You know, once you're in the server looking around of what different things. Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
there's a lot
whatever
of there's a
you
lot
think,
of options. So yeah, it can be
Yeah.
overwhelming.
Yeah, and we have more refinements to do
Yes.
as far as that. But with that said, tuning at 034 Motorsport for any of your tuning related questions.
Yeah.
We're always available for that. So, if I live in South Africa, how do I get a 034 Motorsport tune?
We send you cables.
No problem.
Yep.
Assuming that we have the right file for you, you just simply go on our website, you buy the cable and tune that you want, and everything else happens like magic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you just need
no
a laptop.
problem.
We send you a cable.
You can flash at home.
You can flash at home.
but
anywhere
you
in the
can actually
world.
flash it yourself.
Yes.
No one from the internet will have to log into your computer.
Nope.
Let's see. Can we talk about your B8S4 brake upgrades for track? I did RS4, R8 Brembo on my S4. Would love to hear about your car. Front brakes on the B8S4 are a big issue stock.
Yep.
The stock rotors, even with better pads, just simply don't hold.
There's just not enough there.
There's not enough thermal capacity, and the rotors don't do a good enough job of cooling themselves. So we have found that most of the bigger, like 14-inch brake kits from like Brembo, AP Racing, Stop Tech,
Yep.
seem to do the job well. What are you putting on your car?
I've got an AP 6-piston kit right now, just because I happened into kind of thing. But yeah, a lot of the bigger kits, once you get up into like the R8 and Q, that size rotor and caliper, as long as you're running, proper pads, you can get away with a lot more than the stock stuff.
Yeah, and the key is finding a good rotor that has good airflow ventilation through it. The stock stuff just doesn't move enough air. And unfortunately, I'm not even sure how much better R8 rotors would be. I mean, they're better than
The stock ones, yeah.
But
they're better than the stock S4.
But what you see, from the Brembo, AP Racing, Alcon, and I'm sure
side,
Stop Tech is they do a much better job with directional veining, which means that the vanes aren't just straight; they actually
or backwards for the application.
They arc back and create more of a Venturi vacuum effect. So air is pulled from the inside and flung out. And the rotor is essentially a big fan as it spins.
Yep.
That takes a lot more engineering and a lot more manufacturing complexity. And frankly, the factories don't ever anticipate that you'll ever need that much brake cooling on the street. And frankly, you won't. But on track, it's a huge issue. You'll smoke the stock brakes even with good pads.
Literally
at the most.
on fire with all of my.
And we always try to push the stock brakes as far as we can. We tested some aftermarket pads and
I went through all different kinds of pads. I could get the pads to hold up, but
the rotors just
literally the rotors were glowing. The fluid would start to boil.
Yeah, the fluid boils, and
there's just not enough.
You don't
cooling
end up having any pedal regardless. So anyways, frankly, if you want the best, I think Brembo's about as good as it gets. Their
brakes aren't cheap either.
They're not cheap.
Kind of one of those things.
You pay like $5,000 or something.
You pay once, you do it right, and you're done.
Yeah. So anyways, you don't need to do anything with the rear brakes except maybe pads. So
pads will go as far as
get some
rear.
Porterfields or whatever. Make sure you get an actual track pad, not a Hawk HPS,
semi-metallic something or other. Yeah,
that's not a real track pad. So, engine cover is being released this week. Thank you for confirming. For our operations COO Gary. Okay. Probably covered in the past, so apologies if I missed it. Does the 3.0 T-Tune support water meth? If not, why not? Thanks.
Yeah, we have a lot of guys running water meth on our off-the-shelf 3-liter.
It supports
It'll support it. It's all closed-loop fueling. So yeah, it'll support it. The 3-liter is a tricky one with the water meth stuff.
Well, when you spray all that water meth on the air temp sensor, you're going to get more time.
Exactly, and that's just kind of how water meth works. So it depends on your water meth kit too. A lot of guys are injecting at the throttle body or just after. Some guys have a much more involved build where it's actual port injection, but that's under the manifold.
Yeah.
Those, interestingly enough, actually get you less benefit typically because they're well past all the sensors. So they actually work, if anything, they from a thermodynamics and physics standpoint, they work better.
Yeah.
But you don't get a lot of that free power that you get from the meth system.
All right, so here's the deal with water meth. go outside one day with a buddy on a hot day, and have him hold up a thermometer. Just stand there with a thermometer and have him tell you what the temperature is. Let's say it's 95 degrees. Now put some water meth in a spray bottle and start spraying at the thermometer in his hand. And now ask him what the temperature is. And he will probably say it's 80 degrees outside. So it's not actually
it's
cooler outside.
It's the evaporative effect.
He might feel cooler because, there's water evaporating off him. And water meth does have a chemical thermodynamic effect on combustion. But what I think most people who use water meth fail to understand is that they're actually cooling down their air temp sensor.
Right.
Their ECU is like their buddy is looking at a sensor that's now doused and cooled by the evaporative effect of methanol and water.
And basically, the ECU is going to, as those temperature readings drop, the ECU is going to give you a little more
So
timing.
the ECU is like, sweet, it's cooler outside, air's denser, here's more timing, maybe a little more fuel too. And then, once it starts getting into detonation, it's going to pull things back.
Just like normal,
Yeah.
So
it's not necessarily the water meth. It's indirectly. Your buddy might feel cooler. His thermometer might be telling him it's cooler. It's not actually cooler outside, but regardless, the intended effect is accomplished. So as long as, I there's probably tuners out there who say they have like optimized.
Well, we do. We've done it, in some applications, but in general, our off-the-shelf file will work fine with water meth, and that's what we recommend, because we talked about this last week. The water meth systems are really fussy to keep working all the time.
It can run out.
It can run out,
and then what are you going to do?
Injector issues, and so if you've got a tune that's very dependent on this secondary system,
or the pump, all the time I hear about pumps.
Yeah, there's a ton of different ways
or something starts leaking
that we've seen water meth systems.
And you're cranking around on the throttle thinking you have water meth and nothing's happening.
Yep.
You would have in some cases no way of knowing that.
Yeah,
I know some of them have.
There are feedback systems.
Have error lights and stuff like that. Yeah. The stock clutch pack on my Stage 2 B8S4 is starting to slip. Do you recommend SSP?
We have not seen any need for an aftermarket clutch.
Can we ask what tune they're running?
Yeah, I don't know if what software you're on, but there's.
Oh, it's okay. Generally, generally SSP or upgraded on any of the Stage 2 plus tunes that we know of. Upgraded clutch packs are not needed.
No, if you're slipping,
recommended.
It's usually software related.
Yeah, so
I've never seen an issue where a stock clutch couldn't hold any of the Stage 2 plus powers.
So take a look at your tuning.
Even after they've been slipping for a while.
It's possible the damage could have been done in the past, but we do not recommend it on any of our tunes. None of our customers need upgraded clutch packs. Upgraded clutch packs became a thing years ago when tuning was really shit and nobody was controlling the clutch pressure correctly. They weren't increasing the clamping force on the factory clutch packs. But the factory clutch packs are liquid cooled.
Yeah, on these cars,
they hold up really well.
We have not had a need for them.
And the stock ones are really good. So I wouldn't waste your money. I would figure out what's actually going on.
Yep.
You don't want to band-aid the problem. Sure, the SSP clutch packs will have a little higher coefficient of friction, but that's not going to solve the problem.
Yep.
What spark plug gap do you recommend for Stage 2 plus E40?
One that works. I do very little spark plug tuning.
Stock plugs.
I
should work fine.
Yeah, I do very little spark plug tuning. It's kind of one of those things. Some cars are fussier than others. Our car here generally doesn't care.
Generally, general tuning advice would be if you're experiencing misfires and you're positive it's not your coils or anything else, start shrinking the gap, maybe by 0.05 or something, and test that.
I remember. I think 0.024 to 0.028 is probably where most land, but
it's 0.028 is but I think the factory spec works fine and. Again, there's a lot of people messing with plug gaps, and they're trying to band-aid for something.
I think I still have the cheap copper tri-electrodes, and they're not even for the car in there right now. They're working totally fine, and others have issues. So it's
plug gapping was a big thing, like in the 60s and 70s when you literally had like fuel like pouring like a like a stream into your combustion chamber. So these days, everything, the atomization of fuel, the FSI injection,
Yeah, I mean,
combustion's much easier.
yeah, some guys swear by it, so by all means play with it. We don't have a definitive guide because we've never seen the need to,
Just whoever's swearing by
to
it,
give a definitive answer on
make
that.
sure that they're actually addressing
Yeah.
a real problem. What is faster, APR Stage 2 Plus or 034 Stage 2 Plus? Well, I mean,
It's a tough one. I mean, based on records, we're
Yeah.
obviously the fastest.
we
Tune to
based-
tune, I think
based
we're
on
the
documented
fastest on it and
times.
everything currently. That's a tougher one to quantify.
Yeah.
We've got more options to make you faster with all the different fuels and octanes and support for different throttle bodies and setups.
Yeah.
So I'd say we're pretty much on top with all that, with far better transmission and all around software.
Yeah, I mean, if someone with an APR Stage 2 Plus can run faster times than our customers have, we'd like to see it. So, if I buy B8S4 tuning now, will I have access to launch control update for free?
Yep.
Yes. So when you buy a tune, all the updates so far that we've ever released have always been free.
Yeah,
And-
if
and
it's
a
within
type
the
of
same
support.
stage, the same
Yeah.
offering, you're going to get it.
And then if to upgrade from like stage 1 to stage 2, you just have to pay the incremental difference. In some cases, it's like $80. It's like really
it's
cheap.
not much.
So, but yeah, we do not sell the updates. The updates that we do to stay competitive, to stay ahead of the competition.
Yep.
And to give the market, we'd like to be the standard that everyone goes to.
Yeah,
so.
and you won't have to pay for different octanes for anytime we have different octanes for different files.
Yeah.
You've got access to all of them.
And
so.
you can flash yourself
Yep.
at home as long as you have an internet connection. So very easy to do. Can a 034 HJ TTRS tune be installed over an APR Stage 2 with your cable?
It can.
Will there be a benefit? Oh, God.
I think Nick might have just stuck that in there.
It got asked.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So currently the early AJ TTRS is supported in a limited way on the server because those ECUs need a bench unlock. We're currently finalizing that so that we can do all of it by OBD. But if you're already flashed with something else or flashed with our software, we can send you a cable. You can flash, any of our.
You buy a
AJ
cable, you flash your car yourself,
Yep.
it will write right over the APR file.
Yep.
As a benefit, you'll make more power and safer power. I don't know if APR fixed their Stage 2 file.
Yeah, I don't know where that is these days, but
I really don't intend to badmouth APR, but I think we've rebuilt about 20 APR Stage 2 TTRS AJs
Stage 2
here
plus
in our service
TTRS
department.
on 91 octane was pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah,
window
it's just a
back
matter of time. So if they fixed it, great. But I mean, even flash to APR Stage 1 if you can. If you're on APR Stage 2 right now, I would go to the Stage 1 because we've never seen an engine blow up on Stage 1.
They're two and
But
2
something's
plus definitely
terribly
have issues.
wrong with their Stage 2. Again, if they fixed it, great. If they haven't, I wish they would. Regardless, our tune's newer, more refined, developed, and it's extremely safe. There'll be no safety issues whatsoever.
The gentleman that had this slipping clutch BAS.
Okay, so we just got confirmation the slipping
Yeah.
clutch issues are on
Yeah.
different software, and that's just there's a lot of things that go into making the clutches hold.
Well, I would-
this software, and I can almost guarantee it'll hold just fine.
Yeah,
without,
I would
without any hardware.
I would escalate that back to EPL or switch over to our software to confirm that your clutches no longer slip.
Yeah, the problem comes from the way the ECU
Yep.
tunes are done.
Will there ever be Stage 3 for the S4 B8? Any future performance mods? Yeah, we don't know. I mean, we get asked this every once in a while. There was the
If there's a hardware setup out there that people actually end up buying instead of just drooling over,
the issue with Stage 3, which is APR released.
People also call.
so that's another problem is we need to quantify what a stage 3 is. So is it just a throttle body upgrade? Yes, we can do those.
Yes,
now.
we're
do them
coming
all
out with
time.
the super duper charger.
Yep.
That will be available in the next, by the end of the year, hopefully.
Yep.
But as far as the bigger supercharger, there's just not enough intercooling, and so APR released a kit. It actually ran slower than the stock 1700 TVS unit.
Oh, man, yeah.
And then Magnuson then, because Magnuson developed it for APR, APR abandoned the product. Magnuson spent a few years trying to get the product on the market. We looked at it seriously, but we chose to focus development on the factory TVS supercharger, and we're making more power with the stock supercharger than anyone ever has on the big upgraded unit. So it's an intercooling issue. Magnuson really should have upgraded the intercooler somehow. And that's the other issue. There's not a lot of room, right? You have 3 cylinders of room.
Yeah.
And you're putting basically an 8-cylinder supercharger on a 6-cylinder motor. On an 8-cylinder, you'd have
a whole nother
25% more length to work with, and you could possibly increase the intercooler capacity by 30-40% if you had more room. So anyways, that's the issue. I would say optimize with our Stage 2 Plus, with our upcoming throttle body upgrade, with our cooling solutions. You will have a setup that runs a world record time.
Yeah, there's no difference than
if you can just get your tires to hook up, you can run that world record time as well. So and all of our world record runs have been run on off the shelf, basically.
Yeah, there's no special sauce that we're doing on these files.
No hidden nitrous, no tricks with fuel or anything like that, even though some people tried to say there was.
Yeah, despite allegations.
What's the best way to change octanes without worrying about fueling being off?
As far as the octane,
how do you pump out and all that stuff?
Be patient. I generally like to run them very low and then fill up. Don't flash for, it's surprising how much fuel that remains in the lines and in the filter, how long it takes for that to actually pump through. Just be patient. Put the higher octane fuel in, drive it, a good 10, 15, 20 miles, and then look at doing the flash. So yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah,
you got to really make sure it gets all the old lower octane stuff pumped out. If you're going down in files, like if you're going from 100 octane down to 91, you can just flash the 91 octane map, no problem. It'll run fine. It's only when you're going up in tunes that you need to be careful.
Next question. I heard you guys were making camber plates for a 220 valve. Is this factual, like 5G COVID cases? We are not. We have no 220 valve products in development, unfortunately.
We do.
We do?
The shifter bearing, the clamshell.
Okay. I mean, yes, that's not a new product.
No,
we are
35-year-old product.
All the problem is like our short shifter, the 016 short shifter, which works in 220 valve. All the parts for that are going NLA. Audi has stopped supporting these cars long ago, so we are going out and making the OEM parts, but they're not new efforts. And yeah, sorry, Nick, that's about as true as
the 5G. Yeah,
it's about as true as Hillary Clinton child trafficking out of a pizza store.
The pizza store, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got about 7 minutes left.
All right.
About 40 questions left.
There's one. Can you tell me if I can fit 20-inch wheels to my B8S4? I have 034 lowering springs, whereas 19-inch recommended size. I'm sure you can.
Yeah, there's plenty you could fit.
I do not recommend it unless your roads are like glass and you don't care about the best handling. So really on a B8S4 or a B9S4 or even an RS3, an 18-inch wheel is going to give you the best amount of tire sidewall and ultimately tire selection for the best handling setup. A tire needs to stay on the road and it needs to be compliant. So, forklifts have solid rubber tires, and the reason for that is they can only go about 5 miles an hour unless you're in a video
on
game.
Smooth concrete.
Yeah. But if you had solid rubber tires on a road car, you would go into a corner and your car would just fly off the road and crash.
Start skittering across the road.
Right. And that's kind of like what happens when you put 20s on your B8S4.
Yeah, we're the wrong company to ask if you can keep going up in wheel size.
You're going to be down to probably a 30 series sidewall, if my guess is correct.
Yeah,
and
we're the company that released the 18-inch wheel for the RS3.
You'll literally have to put like 80 psi air pressure inside that tire. And thank you. And so I recommend sticking with a 19. It's not going to look quite as lit as a 20, but I wouldn't go bigger than a 19. I wouldn't recommend it, but people do, and you may end up doing that. So, what is holding back catted downpipes from passing emissions? Emission standards have increased substantially.
Yeah.
So, bless you.
Totally.
When we say our high flow cats are Euro 4, that means they meet the emission standards of like, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago.
Well, not even in some cases.
Yeah,
EU4s are
even
used. I mean, it's the 4th generation of EU
Yeah.
standard, so it's not that old.
But the standards have increased exponentially to the point where literally, like a PZEV or partial zero
and
emissions
it's all over the board. What
a full
car?
zero emissions vehicle, it's literally just carbon dioxide and water coming out the tailpipe.
Right.
In many cases, the air coming out the exhaust is cleaner, despite having the carbon dioxide,
Right.
than the air that's going into it. So, our high flow cats are extremely clean, and they would have met emission standards of 10 years ago, but they don't now. So, and now there's these particulate filters that are getting installed. So things are getting much harder for the internal combustion engine. I mean, they're going to be
It's only
impossible
going to get
at some
more,
point. So that's why you see companies ditching fossil fuels in favor of electrification. Those cars have zero emissions. There's
Once
no
they're built,
emissions
yeah.
output. Yeah, after they've been built. And when they're built in the factory, they can control those emissions much better than they can millions of cars on the road.
Yeah.
So, you're going to see everything going to electrification over the next 20, 30 years. Who knows what we'll be doing in 30 years? That's a long time from now.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully I'm not working. Hopefully I'm relaxing and building fine woodworking items and cooking. But who knows? That's a long time from now. There's lots of internal combustion fun yet to be had.
Yeah.
So no worries there. Are you going to make 19-inch wheels for the RS3 TTRS, and when will they be available in black? Well, yes, we're making the wheels. We're producing them currently. Our manufacturer is probably forging them right now as we speak.
Yep.
We hope to have those wheels released in the next 2 to 3 months. They will initially be released in our anthracite, which is like a dark silver, shiny, chromy silver color. We are looking to do more wheel colors in the future. We are not committing to doing black wheels yet, because invisible wheels are not our first priority. But you could always easily paint. I think most powder coating places will powder coat a wheel for about $100 a wheel. So that's always an option as well. But our 19-inch wheel will be the best fitting